Welcome to the Lucky 13 podcast, where we talk about all things people and profit in business.
Does that get edited in to push the button?
Yeah, it's in.
Is it really?
Yeah, you don't
I've
listen
never
to us,
listened
do
to
you?
it. That's probably my favorite part of the podcast.
Well, and that was inspired from Brian Neal, because we started talking about this when Brian Neal admitted on one of his podcasts that he went almost the whole time without pushing the button.
That's correct. So we just reminded ourselves of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Merry Christmas. We're
Merry
right
Christmas
there, man.
is December 17th. How's that possible?
Craziness. I got family home. I'm Josh, by the way. You're Mike.
Yep.
I got everybody home but one. My one plus one, because she's married, and they get home tonight. And then I'm loaded for 12 days. 12 days of Christmas at the Hausers. You think my hair's gray now? Let's see what happens.
I need pictures. I mean, I really do.
Follow me on Facebook. I'm shameless. Right now, we're doing the 10 days of Christmas, and we have a themed dinner every night. It's movie and a dinner. So we had Elf 2 nights ago. Last night was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and all the food's themed to that. No idea what tonight is, but we post it on Facebook every night. And
so Rudolph, what's the dinner?
We had red-nosed meatballs. We had something snowflake rice or whatever. We had Clarice, the little Rudolph's girlfriend. We had her carrots and celery in a dip, so Clarice's snacks or whatever. And I mean, everything has a name. Just watch the video. My wife names everything. She's an English valedictorian, so she's stupid smart. She's wicked smart.
Well, how old's your youngest?
8.
8.
And the oldest is 26. And I think the 26-year-old's more excited than the 8-year-old. He got home yesterday.
Yeah.
So
they give me, mine are 21 to 26. Like when do they stop? Well, I still believe.
So do I.
But when do they start realizing that there's a guy that doesn't come down the chimney and all that?
They do. He does still come down the chimney. In our house, that conversation's never been happened, never will.
Yeah.
And my wife and I completely believe that Santa Claus comes. So,
all right. Well,
what you want to. Yeah.
Well, my wife would always say to the kids, if you don't believe, we'll just see if there are any presents under the tree.
Absolutely. And I'll give you, and the next time we get together, we do themed Christmases. I'll give you a little update on the theme, but can't do that right now.
I think there needs to be like a sitcom or TV show about the Hauser family.
I don't think so.
I think that would be awesome. Reality show?
I don't think so.
I think that'd be great. Wear it Wednesday. What are you wearing?
Yeah, man, good call out. CE Solutions, friends of ours. Love those guys. I think you guys have JD over here on the regular with True You. I know
we do all their HR for them.
I love them. But
great
one of my favorite clients. Of course, all my clients are my favorite clients, but one of my favorite in the sense of when you think of they build structures, I'm watching them build a culture in their organization that's just unmatched. You go into the garage room. They have a room in their office that has a garage door, and you open the garage door and go in, and it's just family pictures of their whole company.
That's
awesome.
It's
not like company pictures and doing things. I'm talking about like the family pictures. It's like you're walking into a living room, and you feel that in the meetings. You feel that in everything they do. So, they build some really strong foundations for companies, like a 16-story building going up in Purdue right now. And they build some really good cultures that will probably outlast that 16-story building.
For Purdue to select them to build, to put down the structure and the foundation, I mean, engineers.
Kind of a big
hire another engineers.
It works out well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Purdue grads over there. There's not a lot of IU grads inside.
That was a good transition, though.
Yeah, I drew the inside fastball.
We are on December 17th. This is getting released on December 22nd.
Oh, gosh.
Hoosiers. Like, I'm stunned, blown away.
Are you going to show the tattoo you got, or are you going to hold off on that?
No, I'd have to. Well, we would lose our rating, our G rating.
Disrobe.
Man, unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, it is when you watch a process and a belief system meet, right? Yeah. What is it? Effort and technique beat talent all day long. They are a talented football team. If I was going to Ohio State, I'm not a sports writer, but I think Ohio State had more talent. I think they put effort and technique, and I'm going to add that little salt of some coaching in there.
Yeah.
I think that is the 3-point difference in that game.
Yeah. So I saw a graphic come out shortly after that game. Ohio State's got 65 blue chip players, which means they are 4- and 5-star players.
Of course, yeah.
Indiana has 7.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a perfect example. We talked about it on the podcast a lot. I'm not one of those guys that, likes to turn everything into a leadership lesson, but man, this is a leadership lesson.
It is.
There is no reason why Indiana University should have won that game other than they have people that believe that a great coach that has come in and set a culture that said, you're going to be a part of this culture. This is what that means.
2 years ago, he walked to an assembly hall, and everyone was like, what is this jackass doing?
Yeah.
And 2 years later, they're like, oh, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So
Unbelievable.
And then enjoy the time, enjoy it. I'm hoping it's repeatable for you guys. I think he's going to build a process that rinse and repeats. I'm seeing some good recruits coming your way as well.
Yeah.
But we watch, major programs that we haven't heard of in a long time, like the Tennessees and those guys who haven't been back. So, man, just enjoy it. Soak it up.
That's what I'm doing. I need a Rose Bowl win. Rose Bowl win allows me to go to the Peach Bowl.
Are you going to the Peach Bowl?
I'm going to the Peach Bowl.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it'll be a good time. All right, so let's dive in. I mean, we could talk about that kind of crap all day long, but let's actually talk about something important. Parkinson's law. We've talked a lot about this, but let's dive into this.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it. Let's make it as simple as we can, and then we're gonna take like 4 different chunks of that, and we'll give them names as we go through if that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Parkinson's law in its simplest form is work expands to fill the time available for completion. Let's just go back to college. If I give you the papers due April 21st, when do you start on the paper?
About 11 o'clock on the 20th.
Yeah. And so whatever time that is given to get something done, it's the same thing in meetings. If you set a 90-minute meeting, how long do you think the meeting's going to take to get the solution?
90 minutes.
So if I set it for 45, and so I'm seeing this especially year-end, doing year-end planning. I'm seeing this in teams that just forgive me for the term compression, that pressure of compression. They're getting diamonds faster because they're putting the right pressure at the right times, and they're not extending this out over long, long time periods. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So give me, as you seeing, because you see as many companies as I do, where's the faults and where's the wins that you're seeing in setting that compression time?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for, but it just dawned on me when I was talking about it. We deal with a lot of companies sometimes that have capacity. Okay, so let's say that they're built for 50 clients.
Yeah.
Okay, but they only have 40. It's not like people are heading home early.
No.
They're finding a way. So then when you bring on the additional 10 clients, they I'm out of I don't have capacity to bring them on.
Correct.
Because they've figured out a way to serve 40 companies in that 50 company capacity rather than holding the capacity.
I can turn a 30-hour work week into 40 hours in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And so then the risk in that is then you're like, okay, well, if they're at capacity, I got to hire more people. So now I'm hiring more people that I really don't need and tanks my profitability.
So you lead me right to it. It's like we planned this, which we didn't.
Simpatico.
Yes, but it goes right in. Now we're in bureaucratic growth, which is the next level after Parkinson's. And so that is, I'm going to read it exactly what it says. The number of employees in a department increases by 5 to 7% annually, regardless of the work, because officials want more subordinates and create more work for each other. It's like natural. We have said we're built for 50. We've been doing 40. Now we only know how to do 40. So next year I need to add 5 to 7% so that 1, I feel like I'm in charge of more people. And 2, I haven't got the people there actually working at capacity yet. You ever hear that before?
Why is it this badge of honor as to how many people report to you?
Oh my gosh.
I had a client one time, and they're still a client today. I'm not going to name them, but there was a guy who got a department taken off of him. Okay,
that's a land grab.
And I was like, so somebody else. It was just the right strategic decision to move this department. And I was talking to him, and I'm like, why are you so butthurt about this? And he goes, because, the more people that report to me, the more power I have in the company. And I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I get it, I guess, logically, or not logically, but illogically.
Militarily, that sounds right.
But I was like, why? Like, that makes no sense at all.
I see it, and we feel like we got to grow next year in people to feel like we're growing as a company. And I actually think AI is going to force us to think almost opposite. If you're not, and I'm not trying to run people out of jobs, but if you're not reducing 5 to 7%, then you're not using the technology and the advances that we're making to actually get more effective and efficient. Yeah,
stage 1 maybe isn't reduction. Stage 1 is,
combo.
Like we're doing a lot with AI inside of our business. Nobody's going anywhere.
No.
But we're creating an environment where people can do a lot more of the fun work or a lot more of the meaningful work.
And the unique ability work.
The unique ability work rather than the stuff that a AI agent can do.
Yeah, I'll challenge. Let's go to that 50 reference you made earlier. I think with those things coming, and I'm saying think because I don't know, and I know I live in the no state, that company that wants to do 50 will be able to do 60 next year and not be able to hire anybody.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So, but unfortunately, we think bureaucratic growth has to play. Now, here's why I think that happens is because I see this in meetings. I see this in companies. I call it out when I can. I call it the danger zone.
Government.
I'm going to stay out of that one, tiptoe. Don't want to be on anybody's X account or anything. Inverse importance, I see it happen all the time. So let me define that, and then you come back to me and tell me what we're hearing. So inverse importance, The time spent debating a topic is inversely proportional to its actual importance. Let me give you an example. A committee spends far more time on a minor issue like a bike shed than a major issue like a nuclear reactor. And I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my gosh, as an implementer, I am missing this in the room all day long. And I'm seeing it. I'm just hadn't figured out how to say it. And thank God I went through this and read that.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you see on that. Inverse importance.
My wife and I were moving.
Oh,
Okay.
you're
So
going to the danger
whoever
zone?
said let's move during the winter Christmas time.
You're doing it right now?
right now. Like we were literally moving on the 27th.
Pause. That's your head coming out of your butt. What are you doing?
I know. But okay. So because we've been showing the house and all, we got it sold. So that's a good thing.
For you.
But we've been eating out almost every meal because we don't want to cook and then have to clean the kitchen
Oh, absolutely.
again, right?
You got to show the house.
Yeah. So it was probably it was like a week ago, and my wife and I talked for 45 minutes about where we wanted to go to eat. 45 minutes.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about here.
This happens all the
while
time.
we're sitting there starving, hungry, we need sustenance, and we talked for 45 minutes about something that was not relevant. You find this all the time. It's like let's talk about what color T-shirts we're buying, and let's spend 3 hours talking about that, and then 20 minutes on the development of our people.
So I love that you call that out. I see. We talked about WAG before in here before.
Yeah.
Where we were, where we are, where we're going, and the W's little and the G's big. I look at the inverse importance and how many times that I see companies spend all their time on their W, and then when it's time to get to the G, they spend a quarter of the time on the G. And I'll give an EOS shout out. We have a set time at the beginning of every quarterly and every annual where we do a review so that we can close the book on it, because that's the inverse importance. And let's go to the future state that we got to spend our time on. I'm hoping people listen to this and thinking about in your meetings, in your L10s or whatever meetings you have, how much time are you spending on what do the napkins look like for the Christmas party versus how do we grow Joni and Chachi to be the leaders that we want in the future?
Yeah. I always talk about it as like, do you major in minor things or major in major things?
So good.
And, to your point, I love that idea. I'd never heard it before, where you have time in your annuals to close the book, because a lot of the times we love to do the postmortem and the after action review, postmortem, whatever you want to do.
Good stuff.
It's important, but there's a point in time where you got to go, I can't change the past. All I can do is change the future. Let's let the past inform what my future decisions are and move on.
Good friend of mine's like, you eat the grapefruit, squeeze the juice out, throw it away. Just don't keep squeezing the juice out of that grapefruit. There's no more in there.
There's no more in there.
Get it out of there.
Yeah.
Love
okay.
it. All right. So because we do inverse importance sometimes, what happens is the bureaucratic growth, Parkinson's, all of these all add up, and we end up doing what's called junk expansion. So let's get on the same topic on that. Just as work expands, so does clutter. Junk expands to fill the space allotted for it. This is my Brian Neal, space fills space. And if you're just not, every time you're growing in your business, you don't realize that the junk that was in your business before is growing at the same rate of everything else. Sound familiar?
Yeah. I'm moving from 6,000 square feet to a townhome that's only 2,500. The junk has expanded over the last 25 years.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I give that example, but it happens all the time. And I think what we have to always be asking ourselves and being incredibly disciplined. And Brian talks about it around calendar. I talk about it around calendar, but I also talk about it around things that you're doing. Like, do we really need to do this anymore?
Start stops are so important.
Oh my gosh, Josh. I mean, it is amazing when you go and you just start asking the question, like, why are we still doing that?
Yeah.
Why are we still spending that money?
70% of our problems that we have in our companies are what we say yes to and what we accept.
Yeah.
And if we just stopped accepting that that's the norm, or we stopped accepting just saying yes because that's easy. I just wrote a personal article myself that easy is too complex. I know that sounds dumb, but hard is simple. Hard is just saying, we're going to stop doing that. Easy is, let's just keep doing that and we'll just work around it.
Yeah.
And it's actually complexity on the other side. I know that's an oxymoron.
Yeah. Did you call me a moron?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not to your face.
I just encourage everybody who's listening to this, like, do this audit at least twice a year.
Could you imagine just having all your departments sit down and just write eliminate on the top? Bring me back the 10 things that you can eliminate today that we no longer need to do.
Yeah.
And if you got you got 4 departments, that's 40 things that you just remove that junk, but then what are you going to refill it with?
Yeah.
That's a big Brian Neal teach that I love, is that space fills space. So if you empty the junk out, if you don't fill it back up, you're just going to put some new junk in there.
Yes, absolutely. But I think sometimes also what you can do is you can empty the junk out and say nothing else is getting put in that
Put
spot.
the lock on the door.
And then put the lock on the door, because everybody I talk to these days, I'm so daggone busy. I'm running from this, running to that, running to that. How about some white space in your life?
Oh, my
Right?
gosh.
Think,
Good night.
clarity breaks, things like that.
What am I?
And
I got 2 hours open. Go think.
Yeah.
You'll
Like,
be shocked at what you find.
go take a nap. Go shoot hoops.
Absolutely.
Go to the gym.
You probably
do
don't want to shoot
something.
with me. You'll lose some money
Well,
on that deal.
I know, but that's okay.
If
okay.
I'm in the gym, I'm open. That's my rule. All right, last. This is what this all leads to. Let's just tie it all together. You ready?
Yes.
Work's expanding. Whatever time you set, that's what you're setting to it. Because of that, we have this natural tendency to have this bureaucratic growth that we just got to grow 5% in people a year rather than actually look at our systems. And because of that, we're spending our time talking about things that aren't important, so that inverse importance kicks in. And now we're in this junk expansion state that we're growing by 10% and our junk's growing by 10%. And then what happens, the byproduct of all this is this last statement, which is organizational decline. This is a healthy growing organizations are chaotic, while those focused on self-admiration, i.e. the beautiful buildings, are in decline. What are you focusing on? This is what I've told you I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but this is the return on attention, which I think is more important than the return on investment.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring up the beautiful buildings. So my first business that I owned, ran it for 9 years, sold it, and we had just signed. I wasn't expecting to sell it. It was kind of a fortuitous thing that happened, and they didn't want the lease. And so I ended up paying on a 3-year lease, like $7,000 a month for the next 3 years out of proceeds that I got and all that kind of stuff. But I remember thinking back, like, why was it so important? This is back in I was 30. Why was it so important to have this big, beautiful building, right? And it was an ego thing. It was and I'm not ripping on people that have great, beautiful buildings, but like I get asked by my staff, are we ever going to move out of a co-working space? No, we're not. Dude, we've got a great place to work here.
Are you or not going to?
We're not.
Okay,
we're not.
Makes that easy.
I love the people here. I love the environment here. It's a cost effective. Could we go? But my point is that we do things for all the wrong reasons, and they make sense at the time, but then looking back in hindsight, they don't. And I just think that's why organizations start to decline. And by the way, they may say, I want to have this 10% growth in people and all that kind of stuff. The problem is that inflation happens, right?
Yeah, it's
and
real.
So your 10% growth this year really isn't 10% compared to last year.
Correct.
And you're probably paying these people more and all. And then you wake up 5 years later and you look at your business and it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah. I heard somebody say, are you buying culture or building culture? And I'm not knocking the building part. I'm just using that as our reference. Where I'm gonna build the sizzle, and then hopefully the steak shows up inside. When the reality is we should be spending our time on the steak and everything we're doing for the steak. The sizzle is the sizzle. And whether it's the building or it's your product, it doesn't matter at that point. And so sometimes that organizational decline, we have to really take a hard step back and really be honest with ourselves and say, am I doing the things to grow the organization, or am I doing the things to grow my reputation / ego?
Yeah. And I think a lot, I mean, my son just started to work for us here at True U, and
place looks better already.
It's so much more attractive. But people go through it. Like I've never met people that were, 25 to 30 years old that were probably as humble as we are right now.
No.
And we all went through it.
We had to fail
I knew
someplace.
you a few years ago. You knew me a few
You
years
think
ago.
I was cocky a few years ago?
Yeah, man.
You're happy. You're just happy I got sleeves on now, because I didn't have sleeves for about 40 years of my life.
I know, showing off the guns. But you just go through it, right? And so you just got to learn from it. And I think one of the things that I love about in the EOS model, and we're big EOS people for sure, is that end of year look back at your company and then letting that inform the future. Yeah. And if you're doing this on a regular basis, forgot to turn the sound off.
Right? You did hear that?
Yeah, I did.
I was making sure I wasn't stroking out.
You're going to be able to see the organizational decline. Right?
Yeah, it's right in front of you. And sometimes because it's so right in front of you, you don't see it. That's what I think the lesson out of these 5 things we talked about, from Parkinson to bureaucratic to junk to inverse to organizational decline, is take that big step and just have that real honest moment. There's Never Ending Story. Remember the movie Never Ending Story?
No.
No? You never saw that movie?
No. Tell me.
It's an older movie. It's based on a book, blah, blah, blah. And the key moment for me in that movie, I'll remember it, and I think I watched it when I was 7 or 8 years old, is Arturo, who's the big person in the movie, they said he's about to face the toughest test he'll ever faced. And they go through it and they talk about how most people look at it and they run and they scream and they fall apart. And the test was looking in the mirror. And that's what this is. Because when we look in the mirror, that's hard, right? If you really look in it, if you really spend time and be like, which one of these am I just need to focus on? Take a big step back and then be willing to go to the danger zone to take, to your point, that stop-start conversation on any of these. So, man, this is such a good exercise at the end of the year. And then apply it throughout. Have those little touch points. Ask yourself what we're doing.
Yeah. You talked about movies.
Oh, boy.
3 of the greatest sports movies ever were made in Indiana.
Okay, I'll give you Hoosiers. Blue Chip?
Yeah, a little bit. But
that was filmed at Frankfurt. That was when I was like in high school.
So Hoosiers.
I won't call Blue Chip. Rudy's going to be in there. Trying to think of your third one.
Breaking Away.
Oh, because you're an IU fan.
Right.
You like the bikes.
And so I think number 4
You think Breaking Away is a sports movie?
Yeah, it's about bicycling. It's about the little 500, the greatest college sporting event. That's not the big.
The Terminator was all about SaaS companies.
Yeah, but here's what we need. We need a 4th movie called Hoosier Nation.
Oh,
we need to create a movie.
That's it. The SIGs.
All roads lead back to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Great talking to you.